Hey there, YouTubers. All right, so we are doing a quick overview of the AsRock B460M-ITX/AC using the Lenovo video capture card that I bought. I've been featuring that in quite a few videos, and it does work good for these type BIOS things. So in some aspects, well worth the money for that. Maybe not capturing video games as good. Now, before we get into this, notice the CPU temperature is a little high. I am troubleshooting an issue with this Cooler Master Hyper 212 that I have on here. It's worked great with the other motherboards, but Mini ITX, there are some problems. One is the RAM is interfering with my fan. It's making it sit a little high. I may have to switch back to some other RAM so I can get it seated lower. I don't know that the temp's going to get down that much more. We really should be in the 30 to 32 Celsius range, but it is what it is for this video. So hence that's why the temp is high. All right. So when you first boot up, you're going to hit delete or F2. At least when you see that in the lower right corner of the screen, that'll bring you in the BIOS. You'll start off in the easy mode. Right here, you're seeing a general information about your computer. And in this case, upper left, we can see what the CPU is. This is my i3-10320, base speed 3.80. And it definitely runs hotter than the i3-10100. Now, RAM information. So you have the total amount of RAM, 16 gigs here. These are A1, B1, your RAM slots. You'll see they're running at 2666. So I actually have RAM that can run up to 3000. In some situations, it'll get up there to 3600. Who knows if there's a higher top end of that. In here, you've got Xmp Profile, and I've set this to Profile 2. No matter what I do, without messing with timings and stuff, I cannot get the RAM speed any higher than 2666. So this is kind of a standard thing with H410, B460, H470, that if you have i5 and below, you will not get RAM speed higher than 2666. If you have an i7, i9, 2933. Now, occasionally people, say, hey, I'm able to get my RAM speed to 3000, though all the information about it says that 2933 is the top speed. So either there's anomalies out there, or some of the manufacturers have kind of said, hey, we're not going to follow this information. But those are folks using XMP. I have no idea if you mess with the timings if you'll get overclocked speeds, but my bet is no. Now, if you had 2133 megahertz RAM, you should be able to get that speed up to 2666 at a minimum if the RAM is capable of it and it's compatible. So that's that, folks. And you'll see that if you look at the manufacturer's website. They'll show some of the base speeds of the RAM at 2133, and they'll show what the run speed can be as 2933. So all right, moving on. Storage configuration. This is supposed to be quick overview. This is obviously where you would see your drives. I don't have a drive installed. We are just basically setting this up. So this will have one M.2 in it. What I'm going to do with this is going to be one of two travel computers that's going to travel the world with me. And so we will have at least one big M.2 in here. Now, over on the right, you see motherboard temperature, CPU voltage, the time. That looks like East. Actually, that time's wrong. It is definitely not Saturday. It's only Friday here. You see the CPU fan, what its RPM is. It's cranking because I have adjusted it all the way to full speed. And down at the very bottom, you see instant flash. This is one of the places that you can go and update your BIOS to the newest revision. So I will have a video about that eventually. Fantastic tuning if you want to do that. So you see, you can click on these and see this profile. All right, what else we got? Nothing over here. So let's go to advanced mode. We got to get moving on this video. All right, main. This is where it's going to come into first. General information, you've already seen this. Let's move on. OC tweaker. Now, some things you can do in here, some things you can't. I don't know why they even use the word OC in here. It's I don't know. Just doesn't really work for me like it does on the Z490. So in here, the things to note that I like to show people, this is where you'll find Intel's Turbo Boost technology if you want to disable that. It will have the effect of lowering the power that the CPU uses, and it will obviously drop down your Turbo Boost from whatever this is, 4,000 something to 3.8 gigahertz. So you'll save power, but you'll lose a lot of performance. And then you see this supports Intel Turbo Boost Technology 3.0. All right, going back to the RAM. Now RAM-wise, you see I have Xmp Profile 2. That's optimized. And if I click on this, 2666, the highest it will allow me to do. Over here, 2666. Now, difference between this and Z490, it would list out a ton of speeds. This RAM in my Gigabyte Z490, I can run it at 3600 with no problem just by changing that value there. So now down here, if you are so inclined, you can mess with the timings. Maybe you can get faster. I don't know. I haven't tried. I don't know that I will try. I'll wait for somebody else to make a video on it. And then, you know, the reason I don't want to mess with it, depending on your motherboard, if you start messing with this stuff, your computer, when you reboot it, it will possibly go to a black screen. Now, if that happens, you can sit there and wait, and if it goes through and does it 3 times, depending on the motherboard, it may wake up out of it and just reset your RAM speed to either 2133 or 2666. Now, if it doesn't do that, if it just stays to a black screen, then what you're going to have to do is pull out the CMOS battery, and then you'll be back in business. But once again, it will drop down to 2133 or 2666. All right. There may be some other value, but that's for the RAM that I have. That's what I'm seeing. All right. Voltage configuration. For whatever reason you want to mess with this stuff. Now, advanced. There's only a few things I like to talk about in here. One, this one. Why is that? Hyper-threading. If your CPU has it, that would be the place to enable or disable it. I've never messed with the active processor cores. That may be an experiment one day, especially with using Intel's Extreme Tuning utility. I would love to see the effects of that. CPU thermal throttling enabled. So a lot of different things in here. Most of this stuff, most of you will not ever mess with. Chipset, we don't care about that. Storage. This, you know, if we had some drives, it would be useful to look at, but no drives in here. And we'll skip all the way down to this one. This is where usually you can put a password in to keep people out of your USBs and or your motherboard. Maybe passwords over here. This is where you can disable your USB ports. 2 obviously include the ones that are on the motherboard, which there should be, I believe, 4. And then looks like that's it, folks. But there's 5 listed. Let me peek back here and see. Yeah, there's 4. And sorry, there's 6 listed. But you know, on the computer itself, we have the case. We have an additional 3. So I've never tried to lock people out of this, but I believe this is where obviously you would do it. And let's go to tools. All right, so if you have RGB stuff connected, this is where you could set it. Style, got all these different selections. One of these should be like just picking one color in general. Um, Static, yeah, right there. Or if you want to shut it off, you can do that here. So simple enough to do. Obviously, selecting colors. I'll let you figure that out on your own. A lot of stuff in here that I do not want to mess with. If I had a drive in here, I definitely, would not mess with it while it's in here. Another place to do your BIOS update, and we will, like I said, do that. All right, under hardware monitor, this basically gives you all this general information again. CPU temp, motherboard temp, and you can see the rest of the stuff in here. All right, that's all there is to it. So in case you wanted to know. Security, this is where you will see the information for putting a password on your, basically on getting into your motherboard. And if you want to do that, that's there. Boot, another place where you could change, well, because there's no drives on here, you don't see anything under boot option priorities. But if you want to do a fast boot, that would be here. And of course, if you do this, there are some negatives to it. If you have a USB storage device. Now, I'm going to set mine because after this video, I'm going to mess around with it. So that is all in this one. And basically, under exit, we want to save changes that I just did. So we'll do that. And I'm going to click yes. But thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.